So in this video, we'll be going over how to replace the back glass in this Ford Edge. It shouldn't be too bad, pretty straightforward. You'll benefit from having somebody help you set the glass in when you actually get to that part, but everything else you can do by yourself with pretty basic tools. So just please make sure you follow the steps so your back glass does not leak after you put it in. But tools we're going to need, just guessing, Phillips head screwdriver, a 10mm socket with your choice of extension and ratchets, whatever. You're going to need a probably 13 or 14mm socket to take the rear wiper off. You'll need razor blade, safety glasses, gloves, all that good stuff. And there may be a few more when we get in here. A clip tool, I know. We'll go over them as we get to them. Now, you're going to have a new back glass, of course. Then you're going to need windshield urethane to put it in with, and a caulk gun. Depending on where you live, that urethane can be somewhat thick and hard to push out with a regular caulk gun. So I'll show you the one I bought if it works right. But you want a reduction caulk gun that gives you a little bit more leverage. So enough talking. Let's get into this. And just for those of y'all that are curious, I think I spent $250 on everything to put this back glass in. So if you're wanting to save some money and do it yourself, this is a good way to do it. I will be sure to post everything in the description for you. But first things first, you're going to clean up as much glass as you can with a vacuum cleaner. But before you do that, you want to go around the edge with something that's not going to damage your car. And just tap it like that. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to get all the loose glass, as much glass away from this urethane bead as we can. The more glass you get off this urethane bead, the easier life's going to be whenever you get ready to cut it out. So once you do that and get most of your glass cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and lift this lift gate and see what we got going on the inside. So with the hatch raised, you're going to have 4 Phillips head screws. You're going to have 2 right here and then 2 on the other side. If it's in the frame of the camera, right there. Take those out, set them aside so you don't lose them, and then get your handy dandy clip tool, and we're going to get ready to pop this rear panel off. Be prepared, because when you take this panel off, glass is going to fall down on you. Some of it just fell out. So make sure you've got safety glasses. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our clip tool, if I can get y'all in the camera frame here. We're going to put it up behind here and just pull down a little bit until you can get some of your tabs to release. Now it'll probably be a little aggravating, and I do have a trick that helps with this a little bit. That one went. You can give it a quick snatch, and you just got to do it by feel because you don't want to break everything, but usually a quick snatch will pop most of your tabs loose, just like that. Now we're going to let it down easy so we don't get glass all over us, and we'll set this out of the way. With the bottom half off, now it's going to be time to do this top half. It's going to be very similar. These sides are going to come in, and this piece is going to pull back. So, there. Pop it there. And then again with the snatch trick, if it'll work for us. Just like that, and she's off. Now, make sure you clean these panels out to get all your glass, but here's, I can get it on camera, here are your tabs, your little pins, push pins that are going in. So just giving it a gentle snap, they will usually come right out of there. So now that we've got all that out of the way, we're probably going to go ahead and take our wiper motor off. Changed my mind. We're going to go ahead and take this puller off, get the diver away. Now you're going to have a connection right here. It's got a little push tab that you'll push down on to release it. If I can get that. Just like that. This one's gonna have on the side, just like that, and then you'll have your washer hose. So we're gonna give it a little bit of a twist and pull, and it comes right off. Now that we've got all that, we're gonna want to take these two plugs out, because I believe we're gonna have bolts behind them. And we do, so we'll take this one out. Now you'll have, let's see, 1, 2, it looks like 4 11 millimeter bolts, nuts, whatever you want to call them. I was thinking they were going to be 10s, but Ford swaps it up on us. So we'll take that one out. Look up in this hole. Another one right there. That one. Go around to this other side and get this last one out. So now let's shut the hatch and take a look at our spoiler. Nope, lied to you. There's one more right here in the center. So always double check and make sure you don't see anything else. It's gonna hang you up. That's all I'm seeing right now. Hopefully that's all of them. So now let's close this hatch and take a look. So probably the two most aggravating parts of this job are going to be this bumper spoiler and this windshield wiper. These have got bolts we took out, and they've also got clips, but usually they've got clips that are a lot more stout. So the way I usually try it is just to give it a quick pop and see if the whole thing will pop up. And I got lucky and it did. So it's kind of nerve-wracking. I don't know if I can get you on the camera. All of our clips, they're all fine. Nothing actually broke. You can try doing it with a clip tool, but I usually have better luck just giving it a quick snap. Let's take our wiper arm off. This cap is going to raise up. Be careful with it because some of them are brittle, but it'll raise up like that. And we'll take our nut off. Yeah, so let's see. It's going to be a 13. And we're hoping this wiper arm is going to come off without a fight. Some of them can be aggravating. So the first thing we'll try is just giving it a little bit of a wiggle. See if she'll work up. And it's not, so we're going to have to give her some light taps and see if she'll come off. So let's see if we can get a few light taps and hopefully it'll pop off. They make pullers for this that slide under it. Push on that stud and pop it off. I don't have one with me, but I'll try to post a link in the description for those of y'all that may be interested in getting one. We're going to use this clip tool to pry up, give it a little bit of pressure. And before we break it, we're going to go ahead and pop this cap off. So I believe this has got the tabs that just clip out. Yeah. Alright, so since that's not working, we're going to go with this route. We're going to put our nut back on, almost flush. And I'm going to put a link in the description for the proper tool, so y'all don't have to go through this. Get that almost flush. Going to use our handy dandy air hammer. And if I can do this without getting y'all's way, we're just going to put this pickling fork behind that wiper arm so we're not hammering back on the motor, and we just want to give it some gentle taps on this nut and try not to destroy it. I think that did it. So you could do that with a hammer if you don't have an air hammer, but that's all it took. Now she's off. You want to remove this rubber grommet and clean all the glass out of it. Clean it really well. Set it aside because we'll probably be reusing it. Now back to our glass cleanup. As you can see up here, we've got a bunch of glass that's around the urethane, so we're going to want to go around and tap it. You just want to get rid of as much of this glass around this urethane as you can. So go around, do that on the entire hatch. So after we tapped all this stuff, all the loose glass we could, to get as much loose as possible, we went back with a shop vac and cleaned most of it up from here because it's going to make it easier. Now you need to have gloves on. I can't really handle this blade with gloves. A razor knife would be better for the situation, but what we're going to do is we're going to try to cut underneath this urethane right here. So you're just going to have to work your blade down it several times, and hopefully each time you're able to go a little bit more. What I actually do is just angle that and get it better. Alright, so now we're all the way under it right here. What I typically do is try to cut the urethane so we'll have something to grab onto, which will be a little bit difficult with all the glass. Just like that. Now we've got that much urethane sticking up. What I like to do is bend my razor blade just a little bit, and then I'll get underneath here and I'll put some pressure pulling back on this urethane we cut, and then move my razor blade down. Now when you do this, you're gonna have glass popping out everywhere, and you'll eventually end up with glass between your blade and the urethane. Just pull the blade out, try to move the glass out of the way, and then start back cutting. So just like that. Now it's going to be a slow process, but we're going to do that all the way around the hatch. Now that we've got all that off, it's pretty much cleanup time. You're going to go through and check and make sure you don't have any crazy high spots in the urethane that's left here. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but there's a pretty big chunk right here. So we'll just take our blade, just like that. We'll smooth it out, and it doesn't have to be just 100% perfect, but you can drag your blade down like that and get it fairly smooth. Also, while you're here, let's go ahead and take these off. Looks like we'll push this tab in. Pull out on it maybe. Yep. And then these will come out. So go ahead and get them out of your way. And then we're gonna clean all the glass up. We'll go ahead and get that taken care of. Make sure you vacuum inside. There's holes inside this deck lid. Get your vacuum down in there. Vacuum that as well as you can. And let's open it up and look at the other areas you need to pay special attention to. So we've got glass everywhere. You want to make sure you pay really good attention right here. You don't want a bunch of glass where your latch is going to be closing. Then we'll switch y'all around here. You're going to pull this door down and you're going to vacuum all in here, because as you can hear, there's a bunch of glass just raining out everywhere. So do that, get all your glass cleaned up, make everything look nice and pretty, and then we'll get ready to clean it up and prep it for the new urethane. So with the majority of your glass cleaned up, you don't have to worry about getting every little piece of it, because you're going to keep finding glass everywhere you look. We're going to take something like a little handheld broom, just going to clean as much of this dust and dirt off as we can. This is just saving us some time with our glass cleaner. So once you get as much of that junk off as you can, we're going to go back and spray some glass cleaner. Let that sit for a second to soften the dirt up. And then, I don't have to tell you how to do this. You clean it. You go through, you might have to do it 2 or 3 times. But you want to get anywhere around that urethane clean. That way the new urethane will be able to attach and hold on. So it can't stick to dirt. So I feel like this part's pretty self-explanatory. I got faith in y'all. I know y'all are pretty smart. Some of y'all probably a lot smarter than me, but go through, clean the whole area, and then we're going to take a look at our glass and start prepping our glass to go in. You're going to unpackage your new glass, and we're going to clean the backside really well. And you want to pay the most attention to this area down through here where your urethane's going to be. What I would do, we've got a little rubber grommet all nice and cleaned up. We're going to push it from this back side through, since this side's wider. We'll probably go ahead spray it with a little bit of glass cleaner just to help lubricate it. And then we're just going to work it around until it's popped in there. Pick it up. You want to make sure it's popped out all the way around, nice and pretty, just like that. So now we're just going to clean the glass. I'm not going to make y'all watch me do that. Once this glass is cleaned, we'll move it out of our way for right now, and we'll get ready to start laying some urethane. Here's what we got to work with. We've got our caulk gun, and then we've got our primulus urethane. Now the beta seal, however you want to say it, the U428 is what I've always used. I don't know about the high viscosity. It's going to be a thicker urethane. I'm not sure. I've never paid attention to that part of it. But according to their deal, they're saying a 26:1 thrust ratio caulk gun is recommended. So I get to be at the test dummy and see if this particular caulk gun will work for this. So I will let y'all know, and again I'll put links to everything in the description. So now on our urethane bead, I like to have kind of a tall skinny bead. That way I can make sure it seals to the glass and has plenty of room to push down, squish down. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm just going to take this razor blade and we're going to cut this tip until we get it where I want it. Give us a little chamfer here. So this is going to be pretty close. Go ahead and cut us a little slot on this back side. Now this is just how I usually do it. You can go your own route on this. You just want to make sure you got a tall enough bead it'll make contact with the entire glass. So we're gonna we'll cut a little bit. We want a little bit wider touching the base. So when I'm putting this down, I'm gonna have this about an angle about like this. You can adjust your height a little bit depending on how your angle is, but I'm usually gonna go about like that. And then for your urethane, pull the back off. Then you're gonna punch the front in. What I typically do, I just take my extra tip here and pop it in there. If I'm not sure, we'll probably use a can, maybe a can and a quarter, can and a half. But when I do, I'll just take my tip off, swap it over that can, and we'll be good to go. So we'll go ahead and look at the back glass and let me give you an idea of how this is going to work. So we're going to start a bead, and we're going to try to make a continuous pass all the way around. So more than likely, I'm going to start it on this side, because water is going to be sitting up here. You'll have a higher chance to have a leak. It's just, you do the safest option you can. So when we start on this side, we're going to start towards the inside a little bit. And the reason for that is we're going to go all the way around. When we're coming back, we can stay to this outside and go past it by an inch, overlap it. That way, if your water, say you don't get a good seal between your two beads, your water's running down, it's not going to catch this inner lip. It'll make more sense. If you're not understanding that, it'll make more sense when I run the bead. But you just want to do everything you can to make sure you don't have a leak. So that's pretty much it. We're going to get the urethane in the caulk gun, and we're going to see if we can't lay us a somewhat nice bead on there. See how this is going to work out for us. Now, you're going to want gloves. And one thing I do like about this gun, the reason I bought this one, is when you let the pressure off, you can actually twist how you're going, so your handle, you can move it how you want it. So that's pretty nice. So we're going to start right here on the inside. So just like that, we've got our bead ran. Now I did get thin on a spot or two spots up top, so we're just going to run a bead right next to it. That that bead's a little taller than I was expecting or wanting, but it'll be fine. It just means it'll squish down. So right here is just a little bit thin. And right here. Just like that. Everything looks good. So we're going to go back and we're going to push those beads into each other, and even if you're on the edge, and I'll show you on the edge so you understand what I'm talking about. Hopefully you can see the sun ain't messing it up. But our bead comes to the outside, so if water is running down this, it's going to run down this. Now imagine this was outside. If water's going to run down it, it's going to catch it. So that's just one of those safety precautions you can take to try to keep from having a leak. All you're going to do is pretend you're playing with Play-Doh, and you're just going to basically smear these two beads together. Now some glass people don't do this. It's just how I was taught, and it's how I've always done it. And that's pretty much it. Now they're wiped together. We'll straighten it up a little bit. We'll do the two top ones, and we'll be ready to try to set this glass in. Not sure if I mentioned it already. If I'd have thought about it, and what I would recommend, run that top bead before you run the bottom. Start and go up the top, that way you're not leaning over that bottom bead, because anything you get this urethane on, it's there. So we're going to take, we got some tape, we're going to go ahead and get it started since we've got gloves on. It's going to be a little bit of pain. And we're going to set this glass in. This is the part where you want somebody to help you. I typically have somebody helping me set these in just to make it easier. So I can't promise you what y'all are about to watch. But I would definitely recommend, if you've got a buddy that can run over and help, have that buddy come over and help. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to keep it level without sticking one side or the other end. Just like that, it's sitting there. So what we'll probably end up doing is find us getting some of this foam that comes on the glass, and we may cut a small piece or two to go in there, but it looks pretty good. I've got a little bit of urethane on my glove, so we're going to swap these out. I'll go around and pat it, and I don't even know that we're going to run tape, such a tight fit, but we'll see what happens next. So it's in. Might not even put tape on this. I think we're gonna go ahead and put the spoiler back on. It's an aftermarket glass, so we're tight on our corners at the bottom, but we've got a bigger gap in the center. There's not much you can do about that. I would say focus more on your gap from side to side. Compare them and make sure they're pretty close, and then once you're happy with it, pat it down in there. And then if you do have some urethane on something, you can go ahead and take a little bit of glass cleaner, or you can wait till it dries if it's on the glass. Urethane's pretty easy to get off the glass once it dries. It's just not easy to get off hardly anything else. So now we'll grab our, excuse me, we're going to grab our spooler and set it back on the top. You're also going to make sure that your windows are down when you're putting a glass in, because if you shut your doors, you don't want the air to push the glass out. Like that. Just play with this spooler until you get to sit down in the right place. Double check everything. Give her a pat. On the other side, give her a pat, and that should have your clips pretty much locked in. So let's go ahead. We're going to open the hatch and put our bolts back in. So you just want to make sure you ease the hatch up slowly. And then before we try hooking anything up, we'll go ahead. Make sure we get all of our bolts started so we don't have to worry about anything trying to fall out. Now that we got them, we'll go ahead. Do not forget to hook your hose up. Otherwise, you will have a mess anytime you try to use your rear wiper. Now, make sure y'all can see this. Our little plug up here. Yeah, you can see it at the very top of the screen. You want to make sure you hook those back up. And they just push right on. Just remember, the urethane's still wet, so you don't want to push out on this glass. Otherwise you will push the glass out. If that worries you, just wait till the next day and hook those up. Don't forget your two little grommet plugs. Get them on there. So let's go ahead and put this windshield wiper on. Alright, so the windshield wiper went to the passenger side, if I remember correctly. Just push it on where you want it to be, and we'll put our nut on there and tighten it up. Now, once you get this windshield wiper on, go ahead and have somebody test it out and make sure it goes the full way and back. If you've got it too high, it may go past your glass and hit your hatch. If you don't have it low, or if you have it too low, it may not go far enough over. So just check that out. And we'll pop this cap on here and we'll call it good for now. Just like that. And now you've got a back glass back in your Ford Edge. I'm going to put the interior panels on later. I'm going to go ahead and drive it down the road a bit and let it knock any more loose glass it can out. You'll find you'll get loose glass for the next several weeks, just little pieces here and there that'll fall from a crevice. So if y'all want to do that, cool. If not, you can go ahead and put your panels back on and you're done with it. Hopefully this helped. If it did, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe and like this video. I'm all the time posting some new stuff. If you've seen something you didn't like or you didn't understand, put it in the comments. If you've got tips for other people, put them in the comments. But appreciate it. Hope y'all found it useful. Y'all have a good day.